Dear games developers, publishers, and Games Workshop, we, as a fan base of the Warhammer 40K franchise, have had enough. We've had enough. Why is it that you can take a franchise that is so beloved, with lore that is so in-depth, and has a multitude of possibilities and things that you could do with such a universe, and manage to F it up all the damn time? Every single Warhammer 40k game of late, apart from the odd few, are absolute trash. Why is it that you keep doing this? I don't understand. It is like being given a gold bar and being told that you can easily make this into a ton of money, and then you throw it in the trash. Like, what the hell? We have had enough. So now I'm going to tell you how to make a good Warhammer 40k game. And I'm not even going to tell you how to make one good Warhammer 40k game. I'm going to tell you how to make a good Warhammer 40k game in a multitude of genres. So I'm going to do this one by one. So first, let's start with something that is relevant and recent, with of course the Eternal Crusade, which was supposed to be an MMO shooter and has turned into a lobby-based pile of crap. Let's start with the MMO genre. It is dead simple. What Warhammer 40k fans have wanted all along was Dark Millennium. Now, Dark Millennium was an MMORPG. It wasn't an MMO shooter, it was an MMORPG with all the mechanics of that in. Now, how can you turn a Warhammer 40k game into an MMORPG while maintaining both melee combat and ranged combat? Well, the answer is really, really stupidly simple. You take what's been done before with the likes of World of Warcraft and WildStar, and you turn it into Warhammer 40k. It isn't that hard. Now, here's the thing, people aren't wanting anything but that. That's what people have wanted the entire time, because Warhammer 40k provides a unique experience with the mechanics that have been used before. And the thing is, you can keep really good combat in that. You look at WildStar's combat, the both ranged and melee combat. It's it's about positioning, it's about keeping moving, it's about dodging, all that kind of thing. You can easily do that without a problem. And the fact that you still haven't gotten round to figuring that shit out yet is beyond me. From a business perspective alone, you have guaranteed players in that game. Guaranteed. There are going to be thousands, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who would guarantee play a Warhammer 40k MMORPG just straight off the bat. And the fact that you can't get round to getting a good developer to actually do this doesn't make any financial sense whatsoever, because it would literally be a goldmine for you, and it wouldn't be that hard to pull off, especially considering when you look at Dark Millennium, all you would need in terms of keeping that thing relevant is obviously regular content updates, a good decent story, a good decent setting, but in terms of graphical fidelity and keeping that relevant, you don't have to make it look realistic. You have to give it a striking visual art style that remains both true to the Warhammer 40k franchise, but all the while being unique and long lasting. Like Dark Millennium. Dark Millennium had that kind of cross between looking not realistic but also keeping true to the Warhammer franchise, and that is exactly what you need. And I don't understand why the hell you haven't done this yet, because it is something that Warhammer 40k players have been asking for years. And if you look at it from a simple business fiscal perspective, you could make this game into a long-term investment and it would return again and again and again. You could make this a subscription-based MMO, because I know I, for one, would pay a subscription to play a really good Warhammer 40k MMORPG. You could make it, pay to play, so you buy the game for $60, you have to buy the expansions, and then otherwise it's free with a microtransaction customization shop. And you think about that. You think about a free-to-play model in terms of a microtransaction shop. You think about how much customization is available in the 40k universe as is. How much weapons and armor and things like that are available just on a cosmetic perspective. You just look at that and you think that is a license to print money in and of itself. So the fact that you can't find a developer, or you don't want a developer to make a really good Warhammer 40k MMO RPG doesn't make any sense. It shouldn't make any sense to you, it doesn't make sense to publishers, it doesn't make sense to developers, and it certainly does not make sense to the players and lovers of the franchise. Next, let's go into something that is branching off from MMORPG, which is an RPG game itself. Now, there have been a couple of good Warhammer 40k RPGs, and there might be some in the future. However, I feel that we need a AAA 40k RPG, and in that sense I would suggest, and the way to probably do it the best, is to keep it where the strength of the 40k franchise is, which is of course narrative, lore, story. So how do you do that? Well, easy. You want something that you can do both melee and range combat in. So I would suggest a Mass Effect style game, whereby you play a character, you have a crew, you're going around on a ship, and essentially there's choices, there's consequences, and it is all narratively driven. You do that, magic. This alone is what the Eisenhorn game should have been instead of a trashy mobile game. You could have the main character as an Inquisitor. That would then essentially give you the license to have a wide range of Xenos characters on your ship, because Inquisitors can work with Xenos for the betterment of mankind. You would be able to have a multitude of different stories in there that would branch off from the main story, as well as various side quest content, and it would give you the license essentially to go anywhere you choose in the galaxy. And it's again a license to print money. It would be such a good game. All you would have to do is give it, that AAA polish, plenty of voiceover, plenty of dialogue, plenty of choice and actual consequences, not just illusionist consequences, and then ultimately ship, print, done, enjoy the bank check. The first-person shooter genre, for example, is something that I still can't wrap my head around as to why we have not received a good Warhammer 40k first-person shooter. Now, I'm hoping that the upcoming Space Hulk Deathwing will kind of fill that void. However, there's no reason why we shouldn't have multiple products on the market from the 40k franchise that produce a really good first-person shooter experience. And you could do a multitude of things with this. You could have a multiplayer-based first-person shooter, and there's no reason why that couldn't happen. You could have a more narratively driven first person experience, such as, look at BioShock. That was predominantly about a narratively driven single player experience that was also a good first person shooter, and there's no reason why you couldn't do that either. And it doesn't make much sense why this has not been explored in all aspects. In terms of strategy games, all I can say is thank the God Emperor, we have the Dawn of War series. Now, I absolutely adore the Dawn of War series to bits. I loved the first. The second was slightly different than the first. It was more a team-based tactics game, but it was still amazingly good. And the upcoming third game looks to break that once more and give me something that I've wanted all along. If you think about all the genres and the subgenres that you could implement a Warhammer 40k game into, the possibilities are endless, and I think it's something that I don't understand why Games Workshop have essentially went from the days of THQ, where every product coming out of THQ when they had the sole license was something that, while no matter its problems, it was always going to be a relatively premium product. And now it's just everyone for themselves, an open market in the worst possible way, and there's just no quality control whatsoever. And it's going to end up coming to a point where, as a player, you look at an upcoming Warhammer 40k game and you say, do you know what? I'm not going to play that because the last 12 have been absolutely terrible, and it's systematically destroying the reputation of the franchise. It almost feels as if sometimes Games Workshop are afraid to put money behind their own franchise in terms of creating a viable, strong video game, and it makes no sense that way, because time and time again it's been proven that 40k games sell well, especially when the product is good. You look at the Dawn of War series, you look at Space Marine, you look at any other old school THQ game that is involved with Warhammer, and traditionally it is always sold really well. So why Games Workshop are just so standoffish now makes no sense, and it is going to bite them in the ass in the end when it comes to the point that people will not buy a Warhammer 40k game because it has the Warhammer 40k name. For me personally, I think the time has come to say enough is enough, and to tell Games Workshop directly that frankly, if you don't care about this franchise, then we as consumers are not going to care about it either, because it isn't just your franchise, it isn't just your creation. People have been playing this game and being involved with this franchise for 10 plus years. That is a substantial amount of time, and if you're just going to let it go to waste and completely disrespect the people who have supported this franchise and ultimately supported your company for that amount of time, then I think that it is time that we as consumers do what we're going to say we're going to do and refuse to buy your products from here on out. So that is the end of my rant. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and definitely do share it. And as always, I will see you next time.